I mean, I remember I had a soldier, and he was not a great soldier. He was annoying, and I used to, I loved him, but I was like, dude, you are the worst soldier. You're always late. I'm always giving you Article 15s. You never take anything seriously. But out of boredom, there was a specific country that he used to work on a lot, and he would have to translate it into English, and he just hated doing it. So he built this whole doggone translator program to try to get out of work. And so he would just punch it into that translator, and it spit it out just as well as, any of our professionals. Yeah.
Father God, Lord, we just are thankful to have come together for this opportunity, Lord. I'm so thankful that, Joe came. So thankful that we get to utilize this platform for your good, Lord. We just ask that you're able to allow us to be a vessel for you, that we're able to utilize this platform for your good and to spread hope, Lord. We're thankful once again. We pray this in Jesus' mighty, mighty name. Amen. Thank you. What's up, guys? We are live with another episode of the Discipline Legacy Podcast. I got my man Joe Rosen from the Joe Rosen Show here. He's awesome in the real estate industry here. I mean, the guy's killing it everywhere I've seen since I've known him. We were just talking about him. I met you like 8 years ago. And I've just watched your journey, man, and you're definitely one of those folks that has that dog in them. You know what I mean? Very few times in life you meet people like that, I think. And for me, when I do, I want to keep them close and stay connected.
I agree.
And I appreciate you coming in today, man.
It's an honor. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've been watching everything that you guys have been doing, and from day one, you're the same way, man. You're a hard worker. You've got a good family. You're connected to a lot of people that I really think have high integrity. And like you said, you try to keep those people close, and those are the people that you want to do good things for. So yeah, it's an honor. I appreciate it.
Thank you, man. And I always like that you're like, awesome, or like, this is great. And it's like, I say the same thing, like, you're like, that's spectacular. Like, is it really? I'm like, no, but it's just a word nobody uses, and it expresses how you feel, right? And it helps bring energy, I think.
I think too, because I do that on purpose. I think sometimes we're all human, and you naturally are just kind of in homeostasis, kind of, whatever, just a normal human. But if you force yourself to use great, awesome, fantastic, incredible, you can't help it. But your human mind start to form around, maybe I am awesome, maybe I am great, maybe I am incredible. I think it changes your whole perspective, and then it changes your actions. Yeah. And then your actions change your life, So I think such a small thing as using different words purposely can be really impactful for your life.
Yeah, it is. And the folks around you too, because you bring, like I said, it's an energy. It's, the same way, like if you're feeling down and everything and you walk into a room that way, then you're going to kind of bring that with you.
Yes.
So if you're enthusiastic and using those larger vocabulary words that aren't, elementary style, then I'm good. I'm all right.
Yes.
And I love it. I do the same thing. I learned it from my dad, and maybe it's a military thing.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I think the military would appreciate you saying that, but the military is the same as normal life. I mean, you've got the top 5% at the top who are running everything. You got 20% at the bottom that are really negative, and then that middle 75% are just kind of going with the flow, So, but what comes out of your mouth, you can impact. Even going into like listing appointments or showing appointments as a realtor, I'm very aware that the experience that person's going to have is dependent on me.
Yeah.
And so I know I'm a professional and I got to know contracts and negotiating and legalities and all that, but I also need to be high energy, and I need to be excited, and I need to be positive. Even if I just, my dog died, like you got to show up for these people. They're feeding your doggone family. They're making a monstrous decision for their lives. You've got to show up and be positive and fun and happy and forward looking. And when you do that, even negative people, they might not be positive, but they'll go from negative to neutral at least. So 100%. You're bringing everybody up. I think it's a duty of people.
Yeah. No, I love it. Energy. So let's dive in, man. Let's hear the Joe Rosen story. Let's hear your walk to kind of where you are today, where you were born, a little bit of your story and what got you to the point you're at today.
Yeah. Well, first of all, I appreciate that. Not a lot of people want to sit and listen to anybody's story, so it's just super appreciated. I was born in Princeton, Minnesota. It's just a small town north of Minneapolis, maybe an hour. And that's where I went to high school. Pretty normal childhood. I had split parents, so my dad lived in town. And I had the whole, it's not city life. It was like a 4,000 person city, but you had a bunch of kids around and you rode your Huffy around and everything else. And then my mom married a guy who owned a 400-acre hunting preserve. And it was off of the Rum River, which is, right off of the Mississippi. So out there we did dirt bikes and four-wheelers and, our parents.
Country life.
Oh, yeah. And it was awesome because they also owned a bar. Oh, wow. So at about 4 or 5 o'clock, they would go to the bar. And here's me and my two brothers. We were 9, 10, 12 years old. You grab a shotgun, you go shoot whatever you want. You bring it back, skin it, eat it, turn on whatever movie you want, play whatever game you want. We'd be four-wheeling until midnight. It was a cool life. One that I joke about it with my wife. Like, there's no way I would ever let my girls do that. And I can't believe we all lived through it.
Oh, yeah.
But it was so cool. And so I had a pretty normal childhood. And then... I think, I don't know how to word this. I think when I really started finding out who I was as a person was when I got into football. And I got into football in 5th grade. I don't know that I took it all that seriously probably until I got into high school. But, I remember when I got into high school, I can't remember if it was 9th or 10th grade. I think it was 9th grade. You don't really get to play varsity in 9th grade. And
I did.
You did, yeah. So
they weren't that good either.
What were you? Linebacker?
I started as a cornerback.
You were a corner?
I was really, really fast, but I was small.
What was your 40 time?
I don't remember.
Yeah.
But I was always like top 5 fastest kid in schools. And
you couldn't have been the size you are now.
I grew up, and so from 9th grade, I got put in varsity football weight training class. My max on bench was 90 pounds in 9th grade.
Really?
And so I loved it. And from every single semester until I ended up dropping out at the end of my 11th grade year, I they'd give me Spanish, and I'd go to the guidance counselor, be like, no, I want to do weight training. And I'd switch out and go to weight training.
Yeah.
And grew, I was a middle linebacker by, my 11th grade year.
That's awesome. Yeah, you look like a linebacker. And you were a wrestler.
And the wrestling coach was the linebacker coach.
Yeah.
And they seen the way I tackled. I was the only kid on Central's wrestling team was like 6th in the state back then.
Really?
So our wrestling team, our football team, we went to the playoffs. we did well.
Yeah.
But we weren't phenomenal.
Yeah.
And but I didn't know the technique. I would just manhandle and just truck people. And
wrestlers always make the best tacklers, though.
And that's maybe why they recruited me. And I got into it. I could never beat. So like our 152 and 160 pounder were like 4-time state champs.
Yeah.
So that was my weight class if I was going to be there. So I just wrestled 171. So like these guys were spitting in cups and sweating, and I'm eating double cheeseburgers and drinking red top milks for lunch. Sure. You know what I mean? Like,
Yep. I remember that.
But so I was bulking, and they're leaning out. But so I never got the experience cutting weight.
Yeah.
Too much.
Well, that's an experience that doesn't look that fun to me.
No.
I remember those guys, man. They would go through hell for a couple days. They'd be in class, like you said, with their spitters.
Yeah.
And they did not look
wearing
like they were having
sweaters,
a good.
Oh
yeah.
I'm good, man.
Yeah, I hear you. So I just got into football. There was our head football coach, Doug Patnode. I just really took to him. He was one of the most high integrity guys I'd ever met. He was also our gym coach. And I took weightlifting because I knew he was running weightlifting. Anything he taught, I wanted to take because I really liked being around him. And I remember. Probably not until my senior season, but he would ask me when we didn't have games and other teams had games, we would hop in a car and go watch that game.
Yeah.
And I just became obsessed with it. And I don't think that it mattered that it was football. It just had to be something. And I had a really strong male mentor in my life.
Yeah.
And so I just became obsessed with football. And I remember we always had 3 captains at the end of the season get voted in, and then you get a 4th one at the beginning of the season. And we did the vote, and I ended up getting voted in, and they just went with 1. for whatever reason. I don't know if there wasn't a strong second candidate or what. But I said, listen, if we're going to do this and we're going to win, because we were 2-8 my junior year. I said, if we're going to do well in our senior year, there was a church that we had a good relationship with. They had an indoor, like a basketball court. And I said, I'm going to build a relationship with these guys, and we're going to hold 3-week practices there. And you don't have to go. I can't make you go. But I can tell you, if you don't go, you're going to have a tough time catching up with people who've been going all year.
Right.
So we did year-round practices there 3 times. And my coach couldn't coach it legally. So he went through the whole playbook with me and made sure I knew everything. And we had, I assigned the best lineman to be the lineman's coach and the best linebacker to be the linebacker's coach. And we just went through and we did the best I could as a 17-year-old running a practice year-round. And we went from 2-8 to 8-2.
Wow.
And it was awesome. It was awesome. And I think that's really where my leadership gene was built as well. It's always fun winning. Who doesn't want to win?
Yeah.
But when you can take others with you and you see their excitement and their growth, and they start to believe in themselves in a way that they never did, that's pretty addicting.
Did you even know that was going on though at the time, or were you just like a kid that was just living his life and rolling through?
I just wanted to win.
That's it, man. It's funny that somebody think sports is big with that, right?
Yes.
Most folks who are heavily disciplined and stuff like that played sports when they were younger. And they're impacted by someone in their life. I remember my t-ball coach. Yeah. Come on, Jonnie, just do it. Slower is faster. That's the one they used to say.
Yep.
But that impacted me and changed me into, kind of the being that I am today, right? Subconsciously, because you don't realize you're until you look back. You're like, man, I was a leader. I was some of the things in my entrepreneurial mindset came from, asking for sponsors to help me go to Dominican Republic and play baseball. Yeah. And it's now people are like, oh, will you sponsor me? I'm like, sell it to me, what do you got? What are you, so I brought a folder with pictures of my baseball cards into all the car dealerships on US 1, ended up tripling what I needed to go to Dominican Republic. And it was, that's an entrepreneurial mind, right? From a young age, you want to go, let's make it happen.
Yeah. I think it's important too. You mentioned your t-ball coach. You never know when you're the t-ball coach, right? You don't know who you're impacting. You don't know. I've had people come up to me and say I've impacted them for things that I thought were so minute. And it really has made me focus on just trying to be my best all the time.
Yeah.
Because you don't know who you're impacting. And if I'm not giving it my all and that doesn't impact someone the way it could have, what a loss, and that's on me. So, there's a lot of lessons that you learn through sports, so many things.
There's something to be said about that, having that mentality too, as you walk through life too, because, number one, you're trying to be the best version of yourself.
Yeah.
What a great way to go through life. And number two, like you said, you're, not even knowing it, you're impacting people. So, but it gives you that level of integrity, really. Hey, I got to do the right thing. Even when no one's watching, I still got to do the right thing.
Yeah.
And, there's still times where I'm texting somebody this big, long text, and I'm like, maybe that's not the best thing to send right now. Or promptly admitting my wrong, because I fall short, man. I still cuss like a sailor. I'm not, and admitting it, promptly and saying, you know what, I'm sorry, I was wrong. I didn't mean to do that to you, or whatever it was. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's a value that I think is becoming more and more rare. Just awareness mixed with being able to control your ego enough, because we all have egos and they're super strong. And maybe even blending in a little bit of maturity to say, hey, I was wrong, or hey, I could have done better there, or hey, I apologize. You don't hear as much of that as you used to.
Yeah.
And so when you find people who have the awareness and the maturity, like we were saying before, I think it's important to surround yourself with people like that. But so anyway, got through football, got through high school, and then I went to St. Cloud State University in Minnesota for school. I was horrendous. I'm a smart guy, and my GPA in high school was a 2.6, which high school is a joke. There's no reason you shouldn't have a 3-something. And then I went to college, and it was a 1.6. And all I did was party. I was exactly what you see in all the college party movies. And I just partied. And I ran out of money, and I was bartending. And I remember I took a year off and I said, I'm going to work as hard as I can. I'm going to give the best service, make the most tips, pick up as many shifts as I can. And I did it and I tracked everything I made and I made 35 grand. And I was like, wow, that's not a lot of money. And this is like the peak of this life.
Yeah.
And I'm not getting a college degree because I'm out of money. I got to do something different. And if I'm honest, I didn't hop right into real estate. I was going to go, this sounds so stupid now. I was going to go to Cancun to be a party guide. Because again, I'm in college and I'm drinking and girls. And so I'm going to go to Cancun to be a party guide. And everybody was like, this guy's a moron. They thought it was funny. But I know me. I would have done it.
Yeah.
And I don't know that I would have succeeded or I don't know. I don't know Spanish. So I don't know how I would have been that successful. But luckily, a friend of mine, Tara Stetner, she had been doing real estate for maybe 6 months, a year, whatever. She wasn't much of a salesperson. Very trustworthy, very hardworking, very organized. Didn't really like the sales part of it. And that's what I love. I don't want to do the organized paperwork. Like, that's not fun to me. So we were a great fit. And she talked me into doing that. She said, try it for a year. If you don't like it, go to Cancun and be a party guide. So I did it for a year. And we had a great first year up in St. Cloud, Minnesota. And I did real estate there for 6 years. And it was Edina Realty. I think we had 105 agents. And at my peak, I was the number 4 agent, which for a kid in your early 20s, it's pretty awesome, you know? I was taking all that money and doing a little too much partying, a little too hard of partying. And while I wasn't doing the right thing, I at least had the awareness to know this is not a sustainable path. This is not a good path. This isn't a path I truly want to be on long term. But I don't know that I had the discipline to get myself off that path. So we were out celebrating my now wife's best friend. She had just gotten home from I want to say it was a 22-month deployment. It was one of the longest deployments in Minnesota history. And she came back from Iraq, and we all went out and celebrated her and everything else. Right. And then we all passed out, woke up in the morning, and we were doing breakfast. And it was like a 3-hour breakfast because I was grilling her on, what was your deployment like? How long have you been in? What is retirement like? Do they yell at you the way that the movies show they yell at you? Whatever. I was just asking every question that popped into my head. And I wasn't doing it with purpose. Where did
that come from? Just like curiosity, or just started and went on longer? Or?
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, you were talking earlier about how you'll start to think something, and then all of a sudden, magically, people around you are talking about that thing.
Yeah.
Is it God? Is it, we're all on the same wavelength? Is it, like there's red Hondas on the road, but you don't notice them, but then you buy a red Honda, all you see is red Hondas. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know what it was, but it was the conversation I needed at that point in my life.
Yeah.
Because I went home and I thought, I'm going to go figure this thing out and I'm going to go do it. And I knew you can't be an alcoholic in the middle. Well, you can, but you're not going to be successful.
Right.
They're going to drug test you.
Yep.
I can't be out every night because I got PT in the morning. And eventually I'm going to be a leader. I've got to be an example. I need this. This is what I need. So I went to meet with the recruiter, and I had the best recruiter, and he was so honest, which a lot of them aren't. And he was just openly not sharp, but he would laugh about it. He's like, buddy, you probably know about more of the military than I know about. So here we go. Let's just kind of figure this out together. I don't know if he was new or not, but he was super kind. And I took my test, the ASVAB. You take an ASVAB test, and I did really well. I got, I think, a 99, and it scored out a 99. And so he said, you can do anything you want. And I had gone through, I'm very analytical, so I had my top 6 jobs that I wanted. And I remember number 1 and number 6 were the only 2 available. And number 6 was, what do you call it? Flight controller, the guy running, whatever you call it. And it would have translated to a great post-military job. Right. But it was also a really stressful job. But my number 1 was I wanted to be a cryptologic linguist. You didn't get a lot of information on what it was because it's attached to a top secret clearance. But I knew it came with a language, which I only knew English. So I thought that was kind of cool. I knew it came with a lot of schooling. I knew it came with me going to Monterey, California, which is one of the most beautiful places on the planet. And it came with a big bonus. I don't remember what the bonus was. I want to say it was $36,000. But that comes with a catch. You've got to pass the course.
Right.
If you don't pass the course, you don't get it. And you go needs of the Army. So they can make you whatever they want to make you. So I asked him, I'm like, well, what is Cryptologic Linguist? It was in my top 6, but it didn't have a lot of info. He said, I don't know. I've never heard of that before. I was like, well,
I was waiting for you. I was going to say, what the heck is that? But you already,
Yeah, he's like, I have no idea what it is. He's like, it sounds super cool.
Sounds like Bitcoin or something. Like but no, that's just the crypto in the front.
Yeah.
Cryptologic
Linguist. So I said, okay, cool, let's do it. Basic training was exactly that. It was basic. And we had guys crying at basic training. And I remember telling them, and I was the third oldest. I think I was 27 when I went. And of our platoon of 50, I was the third oldest. And I remember telling these guys crying like, hey, this is basic training. I know it sucks. I know it's relentless. You're up early, you go to bed late, and you're moving all day. But it's not tough.
Yeah.
Come on. You're going to be okay, buddy.
Yeah.
And you really started to see, like, I think this is so true with anything. Unless you're talking about, like, Delta Force, nothing in life is that tough.
Yeah.
It's really like if you show up, you put in a genuine amount of effort, and you're consistent, you're going to succeed at 99% of things.
That's it.
And, that was another glimpse of learning that lesson. It sucked. Don't get me wrong. It wasn't fun, but it wasn't tough. And that I want to say is about 3 months. And then so usually you leave there and you go to AIT, which is, I don't know what that stands for. Advanced Intermediate Training. I don't know. It's your job training. But we don't do that first because there's such a high fail rate with the language. Mm-hmm. They want to see if you can pass that first. So we went to Monterey, which is gorgeous. It's right on the ocean. It's right next to Pebble Beach Golf Course. Okay. Stunning.
Yeah.
And so we went there, and it's intense. It's 5 days a week, Monday through Friday. You're there from, roughly 8 a.m. to roughly 5 p.m. And I was assigned Arabic. You didn't get to pick. Some branches got to pick. Army didn't get to pick. So I got Arabic, and I thought, I can't even tell you what an Arabic country is. Like, I don't know anything about Arabic. And you get 63 weeks to successfully pass the course, which that's not long. You don't even know the alphabet.
Yeah.
So they don't speak a lot of English. In fact, they're told not to speak any. So you don't get a lot of English. You're totally immersed. And then about once a quarter, they would take you on an immersion. It was about a week. And you would stay in this little village. And it was all of the Arabic instructors and your classmates. You weren't allowed to speak English. You ate their food. You did PT with them. You watched movies in Arabic. You were just completely immersed. But I left there successfully and passed the course, which was really exciting. And I remember on my notebook, I had literally written $36,000 in big black.
That was your goal.
Yeah, and I just, because it's so long, it's not like, hey, let's go to the gym and work out really hard. Right. You can do that for a day. But to say, hey, let's do that for a year every single day, that's tough.
Yep.
Because there's going to be excuses that pop into your head. There's going to be small sicknesses, whatever. So there were days where it was like, this is so boring. Like you're doing the same thing over and over and over. And it was exciting for the first couple months, but after a while it gets repetitive. But I had to push myself. So that really helped me. And I passed. And then I went to Texas for my AIT. And that is where you learn a lot more about, okay, so if we're going to collect on, bad guy comms, however that may be, you need to understand a little bit about the Chinese military. You need to understand the Russian military, because when they say tank, maybe it doesn't mean tank the way you think it means tank, right? It means a trucker that's doing, or holding whatever. And when they say ABC formation, you need to know what that is. So if you've got to communicate that to your commander that you're advising, they understand what that means, right? So we had to learn a lot of that. We had to learn a lot about cell theory, like cell phones, and how all the towers work and everything else. And it really goes into in depth. And there's a lot of stuff, obviously, I can't talk about, but I will say what the military does, and not just ours. I mean, the Russian and the Chinese militaries are doing the same thing. It is incredible how smart they are and the crazy things that they do to move our country forward.
Yeah.
And you've got so many thousands of people working on it behind the scenes, and they love it, man. They love doing it. So I got really lucky, I guess. Maybe you'd say it's luck, maybe it's not. My first duty station was the National Security Agency. So you've got the big three are the FBI, the CIA, and the NSA. So I went and worked at the NSA, and it's kind of between Baltimore and Washington D.C. And I went out there, and it is a monstrous building. It's a monstrous building, and they've got so many different departments focused on so many different things. And obviously the area I was in, I translated Arabic. So. And then from the Arabic that we translated, that would go up to different people. So it might go up to senators and congressmen. It might go up to on-the-ground commanders in different war zones. It might go to higher-ups at NSA or the CIA. It went to a lot of different places, but it was really cool. We had... I think it was 2 times while I was there, one of my soldiers actually went to brief Obama, which was kind of cool too, So, and it's funny too, when you do those briefings, you'll get woken up at I'm making this up, but you'll get woken up at 3:00 in the morning, and hey, you and your supervisor need to be here by 4:00, and you're going to present this and blah, 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 blah. So then you'd have to get up, you'd have to get ready, you'd have to get your soldier ready who did the report, then you'd have to go find that report. And then you would just practice it nonstop, right? And then eventually they'd take you in a van and they'd bring you over to, the White House. And then you would sit there and you'd be there hours early. And then they had however many, guys that were going to talk about whatever, and they would line you up. And the whole time you're just practicing, because you had 30 seconds to get out the meat and potatoes, and you wanted it to be perfect for the president. Right. And then they would bring you in. And then 5 minutes later, you came out. And then that was your whole day was in preparation for that 30 seconds.
Wow.
But it's pretty cool to know that what you're working on is that impactful,
Yeah.
It's just really cool. So I was proud of those guys. Some of the coolest people I ever met in my life were the top soldiers I worked with in the military.
Yeah, it sounds like very, very high into the intelligence area of the military.
Yeah, those guys were nerds. A lot of them were top 1%, top 2% intelligence, but also probably on the autistic spectrum. I mean, we used to joke, and I'm probably not going to land this joke well, but an introverted NSA worker, you could tell it was an introverted NSA worker because they would look at their shoes as they're walking down the hallway. An extrovert would look at your shoes while they're walking down the hallway, right? So all of them are just nerds and super, super, super smart. But I don't know that you'd want some of those guys in combat. I mean, it was nerds.
Yeah.
But it was incredible what they did.
If you're serious about your health, hormones, and performance, Lifestream Wellness has the tools to get you there. BPC 157, semaglutide, ipamorelin, NAD, TRT, HRT. These are physician-guided protocols that Lifestream Wellness corners the market in. Visit lifestreamwellness.com. Use code LEGACY for 25% off.
I had a soldier.
But that's crazy. They can find the military and leadership really of the country can find a spot for everybody.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Everybody has a purpose. Everybody has a place.
Yeah, and that's the goal, is to really match people with jobs that are going to be beneficial for them and beneficial for our country. But I remember I had a soldier, and he was not a great soldier. He was annoying, and I used to, I loved him. But I was like, dude, you are the worst soldier. You're always late. I'm always giving you Article 15s. You never take anything seriously. But out of boredom, he used to get, I don't remember how he used to have. I think I know what country it is, but I'm not going to share it. But there was a specific country that he used to work on a lot, and he would have to translate it into English, and he just hated doing it. So he built this whole doggone translator program to try to get out of work. And so he would just punch it into that translator, and it spit it out just as well as, any of our professionals. Yeah. So nobody knew.
This is before AI too, right? Well,
yeah. Yeah. So I don't remember how I caught him, but I remember one day I was just like, how are you getting done so quick? Or why are you've been at lunch all day? What are you doing? But he's caught up, And then he started laughing and he showed me this thing. And I was like, wow, it is truly incredible what a horrible soldier can do out of boredom. And we brought that little tool up to leadership. And I don't remember if he got it or not. He was put up for a really high award, like one of the highest awards you could get in that building. And I remember our commander did not want him to receive it because he was in so much trouble all the time. And if you're in trouble, you're not allowed to get awards. You're not allowed to go on leave. You're not allowed to do a lot of things. And he was constantly in trouble for something. I don't remember if he got the award or not, but I remember that was one of the most impactful things that I'd ever seen a soldier do in that building. Because the other country could use the tool. We could use the tool. And just things flew, So it was pretty amazing. But so that was my time there. I think I was there for 3 or 4 years. What a cool experience to be able to say that you did something like that. And what a community. Like, not a lot of people are going to be able to, experience a community like that.
Right.
Of just incredibly passionate, intelligent, like those guys.
And then did you have, there was folks that had every different language that were there as well? Yeah. So it wasn't just...
Every language. Wow. Yeah, because
So you all understood each other, too, and what it took to get there and all that. So.
Oh, yeah. But you got to remember, too, like a guy like me, I hopped into the military, went through 63 weeks of training to learn the language, and then I go into the building and I do my thing for 3-4 years, and then I'm out.
You're training hard, you're eating right, but the scale won't move. It's not always a willpower problem. Sometimes it's a hormonal one. Lifestream Wellness offers GLP-1 programs, semaglutide, tirzepatide, all physician-guided and delivered to your door. Go to lifestreamwellness.com and use code LEGACY for 25% off.
A lot of these guys are civilians because we're working with civilians. My boss was a civilian.
Right.
And these guys dedicate their lives. Like they get there at age 20 and they stay until they're 70 and that's all they do. And it's their life. I remember I had the weirdest boss. We loved him. His name was Will Lang. And he was a small guy, probably like $120, $130, super nerdy. He reminded me of Sheldon from Big Bang Theory.
Okay.
And just very literal. Mm-hmm. Did not understand humor. And we messed with him a lot because we're military.
Right.
And he kind of got it, but he also thought, and he was way smarter than all of us. And he just looked at us like, what a bunch of idiotic Army guys. So it was kind of funny, the interactions we had. But I remember asking him, like, what are you doing this weekend? What's going on this weekend? He's like, I'm going to go home and read books about the Middle East. I'm like, are you watching anything on TV? He's like, I don't have a TV. I'm like, in your house? He's like, no. I'm like, okay. And then he, every Sunday, he prepared all 21 meals. And the Thursday lunch was exactly the same as the Thursday lunch every week of his life. The Monday breakfast was the same. And we would ask him to go out. Like, hey, we want to go bowling or what? Because we as leaders were supposed to bring our people together to build morale, So we would try to do something. And we said, hey, we want to invite you out. Come out with us. And he was always like, no, I don't want to come out. And I said, listen, man, you got to build morale too. You got to come out. You're their leader. I know you're not in the military, but come on. And he said, I will give you one event a quarter. But then don't bother me ever again. And so we used to bring him out.
And that's better than zero.
Yeah, and he would show up and he would say, It is 5 o'clock. You get 2 hours. I will be gone precisely at 7 o'clock.
Get out of here.
But he was so nerdy. It was so fun. Yeah, we did. And we would just talk to him the whole time because he was so odd. Not in a bad way, in a good way.
Cool. Like,
yeah,
like just somebody
and he
that
knew he was odd.
And yeah, 100%.
Yeah, he didn't care at all. But you had so many people like that. It was so cool seeing what the highest of the highest performing people in our country are doing.
Yeah.
It was awesome. So anyway, I left that and then I went to the opposite unit out in Washington, Joint Base Lewis McChord, and it was a tactical unit. So you're more focused on deployments and combat and all that, which was completely different. I remember I got there and I was a staff sergeant, so that's an E6, and I had really good reviews from the NSA. And so I got there and my sergeant major said, hey, we're going to do this and this and this. And one of the things they were talking about was putting me in battalion operations. And I said, battalion, what is that? And he's like, oh, you'll be like in charge of running schools and land and ammo and training. And he was telling me all this at the motor pool. And I said, listen, you're the boss. Whatever you want to do, I'm going to do. But I don't even know how to perform maintenance on a Humvee. I've never seen a Humvee. I've been at NSA the whole time. And everything we're doing here is like guns and trucks and tanks. I said, I don't think I'm going to be good at that. And he said, you probably won't, but in 6 months you will. You'll figure it out. And so that was it. And from there on, I just thought, you don't know anything. Anything you're going to do, podcasting, you don't know podcasting, but you just get in, you do it, and you fail a bunch, and then you get better and better and better. But if you just said, I'm not going to do anything unless I'm good at it, you'd never do anything,
100%.
So I did it, and I was horrible for about 6 months, and eventually I got it, and that was really fun. And then when we were going to deploy, I had an option between, I remember he called me, and I remember I was pumping gas at the gas station, and my sergeant major called me, and he said, hey, on this deployment, we need one guy in charge of I don't even remember what they called it. I always called it the nerd cell. But essentially it was like NSA in Afghanistan.
Okay. So
you will collect all of the intel from a bunch of different places, and then you guys make reports and send them up to the commanders. And you'd be in charge of that. Or you can be in charge of our, how can I say this? I'll just say like bad guy collection team.
Okay.
So we would go out, and that was more combat focused. So you're actually in combat, and you are focused on collecting. And
you got a choice.
Yeah. And I said, Sergeant Major, I'm going to do whatever you want me to do. You tell me what you want. Whatever's the most impactful, whatever's the hardest, give that to me, and I'll take it on. And he said, well, no, I don't care what you do. He was very laid back.
Right.
And he told me who the other guy was. And I said, does that guy have any combat experience? And he said, no. And I said, well, I think we could both be successful running the nerd cell. I am very confident I could be successful doing the combat portion as well. Do you think he could be successful at that? He said, I think you'd be better at that. I said, then that's probably what I should do.
There's your answer.
Yeah. So that's what and honestly, that's what I wanted to do. Like I said,
super humble approach, though. Of how you kind of handled it.
Yeah, I looked at it like this.
What was your first thought? You're like, oh, I want to do this. Like, what would you say?
I instantly thought, I want to do the combat. Yeah. I know if you're not in the military, you're like, well, that's scary and it's dangerous.
Right.
Yeah, I got it. But you don't join the football team to ride the bench.
I didn't become a firefighter to be a paramedic.
You want to be in a fire.
Yeah.
You're not wishing for fires to happen.
No, but
I'm not wishing for gunfights to happen. But if I get a choice, I want to do the thing I signed up for. Let's go wreak some havoc. So that's what I did. And we had the blessing, which is rare, of knowing that we were deploying 6 months prior.
Okay.
And I knew what my mission was going to be 6 months prior. So, and I had a commander who, he was not a great commander. He was all in on his career, didn't care about his guys at all. Didn't care. As long as he looked good, that's all he cared about.
To move up quick.
I knew that though. And so I used that to our advantage. Mm-hmm. And I said, sir, I'd like to drop a 6-month training plan. And, this is what we're going to do. And if you sign off on it, we're going to go just kick butt for you. And he said, that sounds awesome. So we did. We drew up a plan, and we met with some Rangers who were way better at combat than we were. And we met with some infantry guys who knew more about movements and communication and that than we did. I mean, we had reps, but we had like 3-4 reps a year. These guys did it every single day. And then they had lures, long range surveillance. And I swear lures, they were awesome. But they had a reputation for being the guys who were in Rangers and then got a DUI, so they had to go to lures. So it was like Rangers, but crazy.
Right.
And they were wild, man. They used to play this game. I'll call it boots. I don't know what they called it. But they would get a guy. They would pick a guy on Friday, and they would pick that guy. And I don't know if they told the guy who they picked. They would just tell everybody else. And then everybody would come after that guy. And the goal was to pin him down and take his boots off. And that was their Friday, every Friday. And the first sergeant would stand up top and just kind of watch and laugh. And those guys would beat on each other. It was crazy. It was like an all out fight to get these boots off, and they loved it. But that was kind of the environment of lures. They were crazy, but I just said, hey, I want to get on some helicopters. I want to fire some, weapons that we might fire down there that we've never fired before. We did some long range stuff. Like we never fired more than 300 meters away, but we did some 500-600 meter stuff. That was kind of cool. And you learn so many different things working with these guys that you don't learn with intel guys. Intel guys are really good at intel. They're good at Army stuff. These guys don't know anything about intel, but they are really good with weapons and trucks. And so it was awesome. And the training was awesome. It was a lot of fun. And then we went to Afghanistan, and it was cool. I mean, I don't know that I would say it was fun.
Right.
You're away from your family for a year, and that's challenging, especially she was born in November. We deployed in the beginning of June, so she would have been 7 months old. And my other one was probably just turned 3. And they're my little girls. Yeah. It was tough. It's different when you're leaving your spouse for a deployment, because your spouse gets it and they signed up for it. They're benefiting from it. We're all in. We're a team. Your kids didn't choose that.
Right.
So it's tough to put your kids through that. And I was older. I got out in the middle of 2019, and we deployed the middle of 16 to the beginning of, the middle of 17. So, that was on like my 7th, 8th year. But we went, and it was awesome. I mean, we were on a big, in Kandahar, which is in South Afghanistan. And that's where all of our guys were. And then we basically did 2 different types of missions. One mission was, I don't remember what we called them, but I'll call them policing missions. And it was anything within 10 kilometers of us. And really the goal was to secure our base. So we went to every village periodically, and we did it differently because we didn't want them knowing when we were coming. And it was just like the cops here. If they go through the hood, they're just kind of watching. What's Jonnie doing over there? What's Timmy doing? Is that guy got a weapon on him? And if you see something suspicious, you roll up on them and you say some stuff. Or we would sit and, talk with people, ask them questions. You really tried to build relationships with people because a lot of times that would help you get intel, So we had pretty good relationships with everybody within 10 kilometers. And those, we did arrest some guys, but I don't remember anything crazy ever happening on a mission, on those missions. They were all pretty chill. And the Taliban knew not to come within because we would find them. They would rocket you. And I don't know how far out they were sending the rockets, but I remember when you first get there to the big base, you'd be in your tin can of almost like a modular home. And you would hear rocket attack. It was a British lady's voice. I remember that. And you'd freak out. And so all of us are freaking out. We just got there. What the hell's a rocket attack? And we'd run outside, and they had these 3-sided concrete barriers that you would get under. And I remember thinking, like, it's a concrete wall, and then a slab on top. I don't even know if these are secured. I don't know if there's a footing or a base. Like, I don't know any of that.
Yeah.
And I thought, if one even kind of gets close, this whole thing could just tip over.
Yeah.
I'd rather die from a rocket than underneath this
crushed
concrete.
by a concrete.
Yeah, like this is gonna suck either way. And we're all sitting out there like
pinned down with your leg, like stuck there. Yeah.
So you're kind of excited, but you're kind of nervous. And sometimes you had to sit out there for like an hour before they would clear you. And it was always at midnight, 1 a.m., 2 a.m. It was always at the worst times. But then by the time you leave, they'll say rocket attack, and you just put your pillow over your head and you're like, if it's my time, it's my time. I got to get some sleep. You know, you get desensitized. But the other type of mission that we did was essentially just chasing Taliban. So wherever they were, the Afghans, the police or the military would complain, and whoever complained the loudest, that's where we went. At least that was my perspective of it.
Right.
And a lot of the policing missions we did with Romanians. They were the big ones. There were other ones, but the Romanians are the ones that I remember the most. Love those guys. I learned a ton of Romanian, and we built really good relationships with those guys. And what they had shared with us was if they deploy twice, the government gives them a house. It's like, really? So they were all there because they wanted to go twice so they could get a house. But they all had normal jobs. There was no active duty there. So they were all firemen or bankers or teachers, and then they just did this on the side. But the other job, we would chase the Taliban, and we would go with anywhere from maybe 40 to 100 guys wherever the Afghans were telling us there was a lot of Taliban presence. And we would come in fast and hard, and we'd set up camp real quick. I remember the first time I ever went, the commander of the infantry group said, Rosen, get out here. And we went outside, and we're in a valley. So there's like mountains over here, and we're just kind of sitting there. And I'm like, what's going on, sir? And he's like, just chill, just watch. And I'm like, okay. And I had no clue. And all of a sudden, and they dropped the biggest damn bomb I've ever seen in my life. And I was like, whoa. And all the infantry guys knew what was going on, and they're losing their minds. And I was like, what the hell was that? And he said, that's a show of force. Anytime we come into town, we like the Taliban to know we're here. I was like, that's crazy. And I don't remember what he said, but it was millions of dollars that bomb had cost. Wow. But so that was wild. And we worked in conjunction a lot of times with either the Afghan military or the Afghan police. Because the goal where we were at in the war in Afghanistan, we weren't trying to fight anymore. That was not the goal. The goal was
get them set up.
Yeah, we want to teach you how to fight so we can get out of here. The challenge with that, though, is they didn't want to learn. They wanted to be safe, and they knew that if we
wanted you to do the work for them.
Yeah, so we came in, we did all the work, and they acted like they wanted to do it for 3-4 days. But once we got them out of there, they'd show up late. They wouldn't show up at all. They'd show up high. It was really challenging working with them.
Wow.
And it was disheartening because you think if this was my country and we had bad guys and we were trying to fight them and some big country came to help us, I'd be all in. Yeah. Like, this is my homeland. It was just disheartening to see that, Yeah. I'm a big everybody can pull themselves up by their bootstraps kind of guy. And I believe that, especially in America. Unless you've got something going on up here where that's what's... And I don't mean like, I'm not confident. I mean, you're mentally... There's a mental issue.
Right.
Everybody can. I don't care if you're black, white, male, female, ugly, beautiful, tall, short. It doesn't matter. That doesn't mean it's not more challenging for some people than others. But I remember while I was there, I thought, I don't know that these guys can. Like, you can't leave the country without being killed. If you stay in the country, there's no like, I'm going to build a business. You'll get killed or, exploited or... I don't know. It was.
Well, you think that that's like maybe just kind of how they were raised too, and bred into them. Is that they're to I don't know. I think we have an opportunity and an ability as in America, which is why I think a lot of people want to come here, where you live a good portion of your life not worrying about a lot of stuff. I guess. Yeah. You kind of right
here.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
So you think about how other people live or raised. Like I've been to Brazil a couple times, went to Colombia, and it's just we're blessed.
Yes.
We are truly, truly blessed to be able
to
to read a Bible or, you know what I mean? To go to the gym every day at 5 a.m. Like that's a blessing. Like you don't realize it without having to get shot at or get, you know what I mean? Like, it's a big deal. So
even entrepreneurialism, like
100%.
Not everybody believes you can pick yourself up by your bootstraps in America, but enough do that you're going to be exposed to that mindset at some point. And if you're lesser educated or you don't have enough money or what, you at least will be exposed to that idea. And there's just on the Treasure Coast, how many organizations give out food, give out shelter? They'll give you help with a resume. They'll give you a suit. They'll connect you with people. They'll give you training. There are so many opportunities, and people love it. How many people are constantly trying to start a new charitable organization? Like, this country is incredible.
It is.
And everybody can succeed. That culture does not exist in Afghanistan. It's a culture of we're all screwed. Nobody's going to be at the top. Let's just try to live. They're not trying to succeed. They just want to live. I mean, I remember we were out in an area, it was out in the middle of nowhere. And sometimes when we go to these places, there'll be like a little village. And out of boredom, you just kind of watch the village and you watch what's going on. You get to know who, you know, you don't always talk with them, but you see what people are doing. And there was this family this one time, I'll never forget this. There was a family and the young girl would walk miles every day with 2 buckets and a stick over her shoulder. And then she would come back later that day and they would be filled with water. And I assume that was the only way that they got water.
Right.
And that little girl had to be 10, 12.
Jeez.
And I can tell you...
Take like a half a day.
Not only a half a day, but you're a female in a predominantly Muslim country. There is a high rate of sexual assault there. I'll tell you too, I don't know if you want this on your podcast, but you can edit it out if you don't.
Yeah.
One of the things that... The fighting didn't bother me. We luckily didn't have any casualties, but some of the partners we worked with did, and the Afghans did. I saw a few Afghans. It was pretty rough, but I was okay with all that because you sign up for that. You expect that. But what I didn't expect was like all the little kid stuff.
Yeah.
There were really 2 scenarios that kind of hit me. One was, man, if you don't want this on your podcast, I'm sorry.
You're good, man. Do it. Run it.
We were in like a hotel, motel setting. And so everybody would kind of lean over the railing and you know, look out at because you're just looking at desert. And you were bored. So, you know, you did 1, 2, 3 hours of really hard stuff every day. And the rest of the day you were just kind of chilling. And so we're looking out and then there's a perimeter wall. And then, you know, every so many meters there would be a guard shack. And there was an Afghan up there, police or military, whatever they were. And I remember seeing a guy up there. I was like, oh, okay, cool. And then I don't know, ate lunch. I don't know what I was doing. I wasn't paying attention. Came back, and I was talking with the guy next to me. They were Polish Special Forces, the cool guys. And I said, hey, where's security on this? Because I'm thinking security. Where is our security? And he said, oh, he's in there. I said, how do you know? Where is he? He's like, oh, no, I just saw maybe 5 minutes ago a little boy came and went up there. I'm like, what? I literally did not understand what that meant. And it was a little boy who had gone up there and they were doing things in there.
Wow.
And it was not abnormal there. Like here, if you saw, even if you didn't know the kid and you didn't know the adult, you might murder that guy.
Still get something to be said about it.
It's not that 100%. Crazy, right? That's America. We're going to kill you. And even if we don't, and you go to jail.
A lot of countries would think that.
Yeah.
But yeah.
If you go to prison, that's going to be horrible for you too in America.
Don't let me see your paperwork.
Yes. There, it's so accepted. And it was heartbreaking for me. It was really tough to see. And I remember too that, you know, a lot of these villages would have an elder, an older gentleman, usually the oldest, and he was in charge. And a lot of times they would have, I think they were called chai boys. I can't remember if that was the exact phrase, but they would pick some little boy that they liked And that was their little entertainer boy. And they would dance at the parties, and he would take them back for sexual favors after the party. And we got briefed on, like, hey, you're here for a reason. You're not supposed to, like, don't interject into this stuff. It's their culture. It was so tough because I mean, I don't know your kids at all, but I don't have to.
Right.
If I see somebody touching them,
that's it.
I'm going to kill them for you. Like, that's that's just the way I am.
100%.
I just can't comprehend living in a country like that. So that for me was way tougher than the combat or any of that stuff. But so anyway, got done with that and came back, and I'd already decided while I was in Afghanistan, I didn't know what I was going to do, but I'm going to get out. I can't be away from my girls this long.
What was your total time?
It was like 10 and a half years.
Okay.
And so I thought, I did over 10 years. I think I can feel good about that. Yeah. I did my deployment. So I'm going to get out. My contract ended in the middle of 2019. So I was kind of thinking, what do I want to do? And I loved real estate. I had experience in it. I knew I was good in it. I wanted to go back and do real estate. My wife was a little hesitant because she had worked at real estate offices, and she's like, you guys are all a bunch of goofballs. Which back then they were. There was a crazy bunch of people running that real estate. Not running it, but working there. But I said, listen, I'm going to be, in my late 30s. Is that what I was? Yeah, late 30s when I get out. And I've got the experience. I'm a dad. I'm a husband. I'm way more mature. I've got 10 years of leadership under my belt. And now, too, I've seen how the Army runs a meeting. I've seen the organization running a company in the Army. So I can steal a lot of this stuff and use it for my business. So for our sales meetings, we would run them really similar to a command and staff meeting. And we had a lot of red, green, yellow slides and, standards for everything. Everything's numeric. You're either hitting the standard or you're not hitting the standard. Yep. And I didn't think of that. I got that all from the military. So I think a lot of military folks get out and start businesses and people think they're just magically better. Maybe, maybe not. I think a lot of it is you're just immersed into this culture of holding people accountable to standards, and it just becomes the norm for you.
Yeah.
So I was really blessed to have that. It made running a business the second time way easier than the first time. First time I was pure sales, and that got me pretty far, but I didn't have a lot of organization. I didn't have a lot of discipline. I go out and kill it for a month or two, and then I go goof off for a month or two. So being able to bring that discipline in and set those standards and hold myself accountable and having, accountability methods for holding myself accountable made it a lot easier. So then when I got here, I remember when I knew I wanted to get into real estate, I was in Washington State, and I thought, well, I'm not even licensed yet. I'm not going to be licensed until I get there. And even if I was licensed, I can't sell a house. I'm in Washington. Yeah. I'm moving to Florida. So what can I do to build my business? And that's when I thought, well, I can do social media. So I focused on social media and getting all of my Excel spreadsheets and marketing pamphlets and anything I could do administratively and social media wise. That's what I focused on for 6 months. The last 6 months I was in the Army. And I would go to work, I'd get home, and then I would do that until 10, 11 o'clock at night.
You're setting yourself up, setting up the next move.
Yep. And I told my wife for these last 6 months, Sunday will be family day, but Saturday, I'm going to leave the house. I went to a coffee shop.
Set the standard.
Yes. And I was at that coffee shop all day from open to close, working on my business.
Nice.
And I sent a whole bunch there's a 48-second video that I probably sent to the whole doggone city. And it was just a folksy hey, my name's Joe Rosen. I'm in Washington and I'm in the Army, but I'm going to be moving to Port St. Lucie. I'm going to be a realtor, and I'm really I'd love to know more about Port St. Lucie. Right. You know it, I don't.
Right.
So, what are the best restaurants? What are the good schools? And I built a lot of thousands of relationships through that. And
Before you even got here.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yep. I remember Gary Vaynerchuk had what did he call it? my 2 cents marketing scheme. And basically he said, oh man, I can't think of how he did it. But he wanted you to comment on so many people's posts, because if you comment, magically you'll start to see more of the stuff. They'll see more of your stuff. And send private DMs, which I did. And then just build real relationships. Like, I didn't have anything to sell you.
Right.
Which helped because
you were setting yourself up. You knew that, like, this was part of the bigger picture.
Yeah.
And everybody around you did too. Like, I say the same thing, I think, to my wife.
Yeah.
At certain times, like, honey, this is just going to be a sacrifice. Like, I'm going to take this away, add this.
Yep.
And you know, it's not forever. So don't freak out. Like,
yes. Yeah. And when I would reach out to Jonnie, I wouldn't say, hey, man, I'm interested in selling you a house, because I couldn't.
Right.
I would just say, hey, man, it looks like you've been in this community for a long time and you're into whatever, field or industry or whatever. I'd really like to know more about that. Would it be okay if I called you this weekend?
That's how whenever you and I first met, like,
yeah.
I didn't think of anything I could sell you either at the time. But my wife just started her cleaning company.
That's what it was. Now I remember where we met the first time.
And she, like, we printed the cards like the day before. They came in it was Vistaprint.
Yeah.
And that was like a week after she was like, she came home crying. The lady she was working for, like, was just a mean lady. And then like, she found a vacuum cleaner on the side of the road. And I was like, well, go start your own company.
That's right.
And she's like, okay. Like, and this was like a year in of her even knowing English.
Yeah.
Like, and so, but it was cool because that taught me, like, just to go have lunch with people or just to go have coffee with people. Yep. It's not about what I can get or give from you. It's about building that relationship. And,
yes.
It goes a long way because here we are today, right? So,
yeah.
and doing a little bit better for ourselves.
Yes. I think, too, one thing I've learned is don't have expectations. I think so. I'll just pick on realtors because I'm a realtor. Mm-hmm. You'll go to lunch or breakfast or whatever with someone hoping, like, oh, maybe they'll have a referral for me or maybe they'll buy or sell a house. I think if you go in like that, number one, they can feel it, and that's not overly attractive because now you're not here for me. It's an energy.
It truly is. It's like, if you're authentic, people can say, all right, he don't want nothing from me. He just wants to hang out.
Yes. That builds a genuine relationship. Yeah. It also offer to help them.
Yep.
If you give, I don't know, when I die, I just want to be a net giver. That's such a big deal to me. To have given more than I've received, and I receive a lot. I've got some amazing people in my life, so I feel like it's my duty to give a lot.
Yes.
And, maybe you don't have a lot of money. Okay, well, then don't give money. You've got time. You've got love. You've got support. You've got hugs. You've got whatever. Maybe you make great apple pies. There's a lot you can give.
Whatever service, being a server, being a cheerful giver.
Yes. And so I've really tried to focus on that. Still to this day, I'll wake up and I always send 5 texts, DMs, whatever. I try to pick random people I haven't talked to in a while, and I'll just say something like, hey, man, go kick some butt today. I hope you make a ton of money.
I've gotten a couple of those.
Yeah. I just, or maybe I saw you, whatever. There's no negative to it.
None.
I like it. It makes me feel better. Hopefully it makes you feel better. If it doesn't, that's on you. Like, I'm doing my duty. You probably trust me a little bit more, like me a little bit more, because now we're building a connection. And at some point, maybe you have me on your podcast, or like Paul invited me out to his beach cleanup, or what. You just start to get connections that you could have never planned for by just doing and giving.
Yep.
That's it. Yeah. So, now we're out here, and I've got the real estate business.
How long have you been here now?
7 years.
Okay.
Yeah, 7 years this month. It's almost exactly 7 years, which is crazy because I still feel like the new guy on the block. I don't know how long I'm going to have to be here before that goes away.
Yeah. I think everybody's – I'm one of the weird people that's born and raised here, so I can tell.
You're one of the few.
But I'm new to the whole, like, interaction scene, like, as an adult kind of deal, because I feel like maybe that happened for me at, like, 30. I was a firefighter, paramedic for years, so you were stuck in that, like – I'm a fireman, and, I see how people move, and since I was a little kid, they called Port St. Lucie mini Manhattan. So it was like, oh, it's just another New Yorker. Like,
yep. Yeah.
But that we are a community, just like the country is a community of people who from all walks of life. So that's what Port St. Lucie has become. And I just recently started claiming it because I'm a Fort Pierce boy. I'm a Midway White City boy.
We got you.
And I claim it now. So.
That's awesome. I like that. I love this place. And I always tell people when they ask me, I get a lot of phone calls as a realtor saying, we're looking at Tampa, we're looking at Jacksonville, we're looking at Port St. Lucie. Give me the pitch, Joe. Why would I live in Port St. Lucie? And I always say the same thing. Listen, that's a great question for me because I was in the Army in Washington State on the other side of the country. I didn't know a soul in Florida.
What brought you here? What was it? So
I did my research and I knew I wanted, I think it was at least 250,000 people within an hour drive for business, right? Because I can do a little bit more business. I wanted to be near the ocean. Mm-hmm. I wanted to be in a decent weather area, so I wasn't going to go live in Maine. I'm from Minnesota. I don't want to do the winters anymore. So that kind of brought me down to like, I wasn't going to live in California. So that brought me to like Texas, the Carolinas, and Florida. A lot of the schools, so then I looked at schools, and that kind of ruled out Texas. They did not have great schools. And then I looked at affordability because I would have no job. The Army was done. I was gone. And this is a 100% commission job. And I'm walking in, I have zero sales, zero pendings. I don't know anybody. So I don't know, is it going to take me a month to get up and running? Is it going to take me 6 months? I don't know. So it had to be an area that was affordable. So a house that we were happy with at that time was $250,000. Now that house is probably $450,000. And safety mattered, which Port St. Lucie has been voted a top 10 big city in America, safest big city in America for I don't know how many years in a row.
Yeah.
And I got 2 little girls. So all of those things meant a lot to me. And I thought it was also cool that, there's so many things within 3-4 hours of here.
100%.
So many things. We just went up this last weekend. I brought my daughter up to Orlando to watch some pirate show.
Yep.
And it was so cool. And I mean, you got Fort Lauderdale, you got West Palm, you got Miami, you got Tampa, you got Orlando, you got Jacksonville, you got Tallahassee. And even within Port St. Lucie, you've got the Mets, you got urban air, you've got gun ranges, you got golf courses, you got pop stroke. I mean, there's so many things to do here. And that's not even touching on the beaches that we've got,
The woods.
Yeah.
So we want to go hang out.
I just think Port St. Lucie, I understand locals complain about Port St. Lucie. They complain about Port St. Lucie because Port St. Lucie used to have no traffic, and it was just them and their friends who looked like them. I get wanting that. That makes complete sense to me. But I comment on social media sometimes when people complain about Port St. Lucie, and I say, we're one of the fastest growing cities, and we have been in America for years. If we're that horrible, we're not going to grow.
That's it.
People aren't moving to Detroit. I
don't complain.
Yeah.
I'm born and raised here. And
it's incredible.
I love it. And then, great place to be in land development at the time or development in general and construction. So
big time.
Like you can complain about it or you can get in on the team that's, helping make it happen. And I love it because I had Mayor Shannon Martin on here and it's like, man, some of the park, like, it's beautiful here. Like, you're driving down Crosstown Parkway, you got trees on both sides of the road. Just getting on I-95, there's palm trees. Like, I went to California, I went to L.A. Was like at this 5-star resort in downtown LA or 5-star hotel, whatever.
Yeah.
Like connected to a mall. And like I walk out the front door and there's like a human turd.
Yes.
On the concrete in front of this. And it smelled like pee. Just getting on I-95 or whatever they call it in LA, whatever like a short concrete on-ramp that just was bumpy, and it was like, you don't realize how blessed we are here to have beautiful roads, beautiful city. Yep. Like, yes, the taxes are higher, but guess what? If you want nice and you want safe and you want this and that, like, I'd be willing to offer that. You know what I mean? So, and I am willing to do that.
Yeah.
So, the parks, man, that park in, I can't think of the name of it. We just did the trails there at
Stars
the
and
Stripes.
Stripes? Oh, yeah.
And we're building a new restaurant. They're building a restaurant there with a rooftop bar. that park is on the level of Disney. I would,
Yeah.
it's on the interior, like just the way everything's built, like professionally done, the planning and design that went into that. Like people don't realize what it takes to put something like that, to make something like that happen.
Yeah.
And the city has a great team.
Yes, they do.
And they're preparing, man. They're not letting the residents foot the bill. These developers that are coming in have to build the roads.
Yep.
You got to build that road going in. You might not need to 4-lane it, but you got to get it ready for 4-lane when it is time to do it. The water treatment plants that are going in out west, like the boring underneath the road of the water lines, like they're preparing. Unlike, I think Orlando, Central Florida did a good job at it, but you look at Tampa, they've widened the road 3 times just to get over the bridges. And by the time they get done widening it, they're ready to do it again.
Yeah.
And it's just because the infrastructure was in place prior to the growth.
Yep. I can tell, I don't know if you know, I'm on planning and zoning. Those gals that work in that office, there's guys too, but we all know it's the gals running the show in there. They are
I send them edible arrangements.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Yes. Well, not planning, zoning, public works.
Yeah. Hey,
they love Alliance.
They deserve it.
They do.
Yeah. They are so sharp. And so, I'm on my HOA board and I'm on planning and zoning. And our HOA board, there's nobody there to guide us.
Right.
It's 5 people. It's a realtor, an accountant, a cop. Like, we're not professional HOA board members. We're trying our best, but you can only do what you can do. When I go to planning and zoning, anything you don't know, those guys have a presentation on it.
Nice.
They've got years of research. I don't know.
That's what the people don't realize too, is that there is education there for us. Like they have the citizen.
Yes.
I don't know what it's called, but essentially you go there and they tell you everything that's going on.
It's like a Citizens Academy. I don't know what it's called, but yeah.
And it's available if you want to know. Like I see people complaining about roads not being done, and it's like, well, maybe you should fill out an application. Maybe they need help. Or some people don't understand. Like when one thing happens with a redesign, that it takes 2-3 months for that to get approved, to go through planning and zoning and engineering and so like I think education is important if instead of complaining. Otherwise, like I always say, I-95 goes north.
Yeah. I just think I've seen other cities, and I've gone to other DMVs, I've gone to their tax offices, appraiser. It's a pain.
Yeah.
And you do not feel like a customer. You feel like a pain. Here, I've got Michelle Franklin's cell number, and she will answer it. And she'll help you with anything, especially realtors, because that's who's using her website a lot. Anytime.
That's the property appraiser, right?
Yeah, property appraiser, yep. Anything I need from the city, if you call them, they're either right there or they're getting right back to you. You go down to the tax collector's office. I don't know. I have been in so many different areas being in the military, and this city is run so well. And I see complainers and I think, you don't know what average is.
Right.
And I'm not saying we're great in every area, but in most areas we are well above average.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love this area. I love being here.
I love it too, man. That's why I don't want to leave.
Yeah.
They're begging us to go do work in Naples, and it's beautiful there, Central Florida, and it's like, I've always been the guy that, like, I have left a couple of times. I went and lived on the west coast of Florida, and I've lived in Central Florida. I haven't left the state. I'm a true Florida boy.
Yeah.
I still haven't seen snow.
Yeah.
I got to see, like,
good for you.
Yeah, I'm enjoying it. And I love the summer. Like, I don't care. It's hot. I'll jump in the pool. Like,
yeah, I feel the same way. Yeah.
You just sweat all day and take a shower at the end of the
That's
day.
Right.
But there's I don't know where I was going with that, but the city of Port St. Lucie is beautiful. I love it here. Fort Pierce. Everybody talks junk about Fort Pierce too, but it's beautiful as well.
Yeah, the nice areas of Fort Pierce are some of the nicest areas in the state. And I think that Fort Pierce probably has more potential than any other city in the state.
It's coming. I think
not just not potential
coming.
like it could happen. There are plans in place it will happen.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm excited. I'm excited to live here too. So I'm glad we talked about that for sure. Awesome conversation so far. At this point in your life, your career, your walk, what would be something that you'd say to someone that's maybe between the 15 to 25 range, the youth on taking a walk or path into real estate, or maybe even in the military, kind of walking in the same path you walked in?
Yeah, there's so many lessons I've learned, but I think discipline is probably one of the top lessons, no matter what you're doing, whether it's the gym, whether it's your finances, whether it's your marriage. Everything gets boring. It just does. And you've got to ask yourself up front, am I truly committed to whatever it is, right? College, growing my wealth, having a great marriage. And if the answer is yes, you need to have the awareness and the maturity to say, it's not going to be great the whole time, almost assuredly. And you don't want it to be.
Right.
You want the peaks and the valleys. It makes life fun. But when the valleys come, I'm going to appreciate the peaks, but when the valleys come, I'm still going to show up and I'm going to do my 3 sets of 10 or whatever. Yeah. I'm still going to put 15% of my money into the bank. I'm still going to, date my wife every Tuesday night, whatever it is. Discipline, you'll succeed at 99% of things with discipline. And like I said earlier, just show up, this podcast is a great example. I have no expectations from this podcast, but you asked me something and I love you. I think very highly of you. Of course, I'm going to say yes to that. I think people say no to anything that doesn't give them immediate gratification or they don't see some, money benefit value. They're, I'm going to pass. And I just think, man, just say yes more often and show up and you'll be amazed at where it takes you. Just show up with no expectations and that's it. Show up. And when you show up, be prepared. I didn't have to dress up with a coat on, but I respect you, so I'm going to put a coat on. I didn't have to shave my head, so it looks all glossy, and hopefully I'm not getting too much glare on here. But I respect you, so I'm going to do that. And hopefully, even if you don't consciously know that, you're subconsciously taking some of that in. And sit up straight and talk with confidence. And you don't need to pause for 30 seconds, but before you give an answer to a question, you can think for 2 or 3 seconds. Yeah. It's okay. It's actually a sign of maturity. So, I think those are all really good tips for anything you're doing in life.
Awesome.
Yeah. And listen, you're going to be dead soon. Get out there and have a blast in life. I don't comprehend people who sit at home on their phones all day or they sit at home and watch TV all day. I'm not saying don't be on your phone to watch TV, but go challenge yourself. Go fail at something. My gosh, if you're in your 20s, go broke once or twice. Yeah. Just go do it. You will not regret it when you're older, but you will regret having spent decades of your life behind a screen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
What would be your impact story, your legacy that you would like to see Joe Rosen leave after your time here is done on Earth, or what's your focus now? I guess I guess that's the best way to put it.
I think long term, I want my girls and my wife to think that I was a really good dad and a really good husband, and I was always supportive of them, and I was always there when they needed me, and I worked hard. And I had good intent because I'm gonna fail. I want to be a good grandpa eventually. Hopefully that's a decade or 2 away, but
it's fun.
I want to be a good. You're a grandpa?
5 times.
What?
Yes, sir.
How old are you?
I'll be 40 this year.
Oh my gosh!
I'm married into it.
Okay.
My wife's Brazilian. She started when she was 16 with her my 3 stepchildren.
Yeah.
And then my he'll be 16 in October.
Yeah. So which do you enjoy more?
I was with the grandbaby yesterday afternoon in the pool, and 2 weeks of her putting the floaty on. She would jump into my arms into the pool, and yesterday she's just jumping by herself.
Yeah.
Just to see swimming, watching her swim. I have that with my son too. Don't get me wrong, but it's now it's. And here, this thing just pooped. Do something.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I was very responsible with my son, so I wasn't that way as a father then either. But as a grandpa, man, it's just there's something different about it.
Yeah, you don't have to be quite the disciplinarian. You don't have to always be harping on them. You can just enjoy them. It looks awesome. That's a big part of our retirement plan, is just spending loads of time with our eventual grandkids. So no pressure to my girls. So, that's the big thing. And then in my community, whether it's the military or it's, Port St. Lucie or whatever I do the rest of my life, I just want the people who knew me to think I was a good intentions person who worked hard. That was it. Good intentions, works hard. And if that's my legacy, then I think I've done pretty well.
You said that I think 3 times. So I think I want my daughters, I want them to think of me. I want my wife to think of me, and then I think I want this. But it would be safe for me to say, knowing you up at this point right now, that I know that you're all of those. And I think that's important for you to, even just to say that about yourself, because death and life is in the power of tongue. Sometimes we don't realize we're saying things, we're selling ourselves short. Yeah. And I think I know that you're carrying yourself in a way that all those things are going to be accomplished, or at least you are at this point. So
I appreciate that, and I appreciate you calling me out on my language, because we talked about that in the beginning. It's such a big thing to watch your words, because your words form your thoughts, and your thoughts form your actions, and your action. I forget what that quote is, but your actions form.
It's a form of discipline. It is. So, and so I've been, I had a couple of Tony Robbins guys on the podcast. I had no idea that it was that big a deal.
Yeah.
But the level of accountability and the level that these guys are on when it comes to business and making decisions and how you carry yourself and all these things. Like I'm super grateful to have them in the Rolodex, right?
Yeah.
But they would call me on that kind of stuff too, and it's like, it's true and it's biblical.
It is.
It's in the Bible. So, but that's obviously we think of our family, we think of our kids. That's where I'm at, right? It's like, I want my son to be this. My grandkids are going to be amazing, in their life and do amazing things. And but what do you think would be a step above that? Like, or not above it, but something else that you would say you would want to leave?
In the midst of it, especially, I'm 44 years old, so I'm still kind of in the prime of my life. Of course, I'm heavily focused on business and growth and selling and wealth building and my house and materialistic things. But will I truly care about any of that stuff? Like, none of that stuff has anything to do with our retirement planning, other than making sure we got enough money to live on. I can be happy in a $400,000 home just as easily as I can be happy in a $4 million home. I don't need to have the biggest real estate team. In fact, I've kind of pulled back. I used to recruit a lot, and I think I had 53 agents at one point. I don't know what I have now, but it's probably a little more than half of that. I don't have a desire to grow that. If people have a desire to come to me and they want that help, I'll help them. But it's not something I'm focusing my life on, because I've got an established business and I've got it not all automated. I mean, I still got to do a lot of work, but it's more automated. It allows me to spend more time with my girls, which is the goal. So I'm not in growth mode anymore. I'm in maintaining this cool thing that I built that provides for our family. But really, I just want to be, I don't know. If at the end of my life I heard my daughters talking about how their dad's the best dad ever, that's it. I mean, I just want people to know that I truly cared about them.
Yeah.
I want people to know that I would have been there for them no matter what, whether I was or wasn't, or like if you would have asked, I would have done it. And I would have put my best intent. That's all I care about. I don't really care. I don't want to say I don't care about anything else, but if you're talking legacy,
that's it.
That's it. Yeah.
Nice. And then books coming up. What's next? Just keeping it in maintenance mode and moving.
Yeah, I'm so focused on my business is going well. It's awesome. And I've got it down now where I know exactly how many phone calls I need to make to get so many appointments, to get so many closings, to get the amount of money that we want to maintain our, current goals, but also to build our wealth for the future so we can retire where we want to. So that's going great. really, other than spending, I do it like I go Monday nights. Tonight I'm going to go do mini golf.
Okay.
I've got 3 other buddies. There's 4 of us that do mini golf on Monday nights. I don't even know if any of us
Where's
like
mini golf? Is it
pop stroke.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't know if any of us like mini golf. We just like getting out of the house and spending time with each other, a bunch of dudes. I like doing things like that here and there. But for the most part, 95% of my focus outside of my business is just being with my family. Nice. I want to be so awesome for them. I don't ever want my girls saying, Dad didn't spend time with me. Dad didn't focus on me. Dad didn't love me. Dad didn't support me. I want them. You've heard kids who talk about, and I don't know why it's more impactful with little girls. Maybe it's because I have little girls, or there's a certain innocence with little girls. I don't know what it is. But when I hear a little girl talking about, my dad taught me how to change my oil. He taught me what a IRA was. He taught me who to date and who not to date. He brought me on dates every, once a quarter. And that hits my heart, man. I don't know that
it's
ever did.
It's going to make them find a good man, too, whenever they get to that point, because they know what a good man is, right?
I think about that all the time. I tell them.
I have a when I met my daughter, she was 16. Their father, my son's...
What did you just say? When I met my daughter?
When I met my wife, my daughter was 16.
Okay, gotcha.
Sorry. Sorry about that. But her father has passed away. My wife's ex-husband, who she had has passed away. And so, I got to be with her from that time to 16 to, she's 22 now. So, there was that feeling for me was no man is going to be good enough for her. You know what I mean? And it's but I did those things in front of her to my wife, or brought the flowers, brought, the gifts, all of those things and I don't know that maybe it was taught to me by my dad. Because, he was with my mom for 50 years when he finally passed away.
Wow.
But there's that now for especially with the daughter, the sons, they're,
it's just different.
You don't know whether to high five them or tell them no, don't.
Yeah. So your daughter's 22.
She's 22. Yep. So, she has one of the 5 grandbabies, and her, of course, my wife and I were pushing hey, if this is the guy, you got to marry him, and then obviously it's not working out now. So you don't want to see that happen, but nobody will. And I think part of it's her coming to us, telling us, about him, so it makes us not like him even more. So
yeah, my girls are 10 and 13, so I haven't gone through any of that yet. But it'll be my older one is an awesome person. She's probably a better person than I am. She's incredible, but she's a people pleaser, so that concerns us.
Okay,
are you going to want to please some guy so much that you're willing to do things you don't want to do or get into situations you don't want to get into? My little one is the devil, dude. She's crazy. And she's sassy, and she's a negotiator, and she is naturally smart. My older one is smart because she works hard to be smart. My younger one is just smart. And that one worries me. But I'm not, when I think about their future husbands or boyfriends or whatever, with the older one, I'm like, you better be good because that's my baby and I'll kill you if you're not. With my younger one, I'm thinking, good luck, buddy. Best wishes to you. Now, is that fair? Will that change? I don't know. But it's interesting how you look at that. But I do think all the time, they say that a woman typically marries a man who somewhat resembles their dad. And so I think you've got to be great in front of these guys.
Yeah.
You can't be average or below average and then complain or think negative thoughts about them marrying somebody average or below average. You have to be incredible.
Yeah.
And whatever your minimum standard is, because that's what you're going to fall to, is your minimum standard. Whatever that is, that's probably, statistically, what their husband is going to fall to, is his minimum standard. Now, maybe it's true, maybe it's not, but that's my duty. So my duty is to raise my minimum standard as high as I can for my girls. And it's cool to have that kind of inspiration.
Yeah.
My girls, I see it in myself if my wife...
Why, yeah.
if my wife takes my girls to Minnesota to see the family, I don't work to the same level that I do when they're home. I don't know why, but I know it's true. Then they walk in, and there's just something about it where I'm like, I want to work, and I want them seeing me working.
You feel like you have to. You have held to your feet or to the fire a little bit more.
I owe them. Yeah. They're my girls. I made them.
I could see that.
They didn't get to choose that. So, I mean, not that they're living a bad life. They're living a great life. But I want them to have an amazing dad because it's going to translate into who they marry. I know it will, to some extent. Probably a lot, but even minimally.
Not only who they marry, but who they are as people, right?
Yes.
Who they are as little people.
Who they're hanging out with.
I didn't realize how much, subconsciously when we're younger, like, how that affects us as adults. Like, I've been going to these personal development seminars. A guy named Ryan Zofe, great guy, man. He's a Tony Robbins guy.
I love Tony.
But the fact that you can just look at certain people and you can say, hey, what happened? Was it your mom or your dad? And this lady, I talked about, I think it was one of the clips from today, but I share this a lot because it's impacted me in the way that, like, it makes me want to look at my past and process. I mean, I worked the 12 steps multiple times with sponsors. I think the 12 steps are an amazing way to process your childhood and what you do and why you do it and a lot of things like that and how you carry yourself continuously. But for something to impact somebody until after their parent passes away so negatively to the point where there's like a resentment for years and years, is like it baffles me that, like, how somebody could carry that and not even know it.
Yeah.
Like, that's how they come as a person because of what happened to them as a kid.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like anything bad. It was just like lack of, being there. The dad wanted to have everything for him, but was working all the time.
Yes.
And that's like, I challenge myself daily.
Me too.
Like, am I good? Honey, how are you? Like not thinking it's going to fail, but being that catalyst to try to make sure that it's not, and inventorying the situations, because I need to. Saturdays are my wife's day, So, and if I get to go to the gym on a Saturday, I'm lucky, right?
Yep.
If she lets me, I'm going.
Yep.
And then dating her, not letting the podcast or the extracurricular stuff kind of take control.
Yes.
And because that impacts everybody around us.
Yep.
Just like when I was doing drugs, I thought I was only affecting me. But guess what? Everybody around me was affected, and it hurt them. And I see it now with others, but you're not aware of it when you're going through it. So sharing our stories, being able to make other people aware that, or to even look at themselves is great, because then, just to look at it at least brings it to light, because how can you fix a problem if you don't know you got it?
Yeah.
So that we can change, be the change, instead of just sitting on the couch talking about change, right?
Yes.
So that's what it's all about. And not only that, but like, yes, you're impacting your daughter. She's going to be that for her daughter and her son.
That's right.
You know what I mean? She's going to carry those same values.
Yes.
And it's multiplying impact. And even if 3 generations down the road, they don't know who Grandpa Joe was, Great-Grandpa Joe, you're still in them.
They feel it.
You're in them.
Yeah.
You're still in them. So that's the important part.
I love that.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
People remind me of that all the time with my pops, because he was that,
Yeah.
And if I get to be a little bit like him, man, I'm happy.
Yeah. That's true with anybody. I mean, today, little things you're saying are gonna, like you had mentioned, quit saying you didn't say it like that, but quit saying I think, right? I'm going to think about that for the next week or two. You know what I'm saying?
Somebody told me to try. Like, stop saying try. I'm like, man, I didn't realize I said try.
It's true.
Yeah.
Like,
no, I'm not trying. I'm doing it.
Yes. Yes.
And it's not a cocky thing. It's a confidence. Like, you carry yourself differently. That's just
rewiring your brain. Yeah. But you have that impact you're talking about with your grandkids, your great-grandkids. You have that with everybody. And I don't think enough people know. I drive my wife nuts because we go on walks a lot in the mornings. And everybody we pass, I've got to say, hey, good morning, how are you? And she's like, will you shut up?
My wife told me I should run for mayor.
Oh, really?
I go to church, and there's 30 people on the way out. She's like, I'll be in the car. Like,
yeah, that's my wife. She's like, I can't stand talking. She's like, you know how many people you annoy? I said, maybe. But those people are going to be annoyed no matter what. I said, you know how many people are depressed or down or their dog just died?
Yeah.
And they hear me and they're like, oh, there's a little bit of light in this world. I said, quit being such a curmudgeon, but whatever. But yeah, I really take it seriously. How you treat people dramatically, like the littlest things. Yeah. I've done so many things that there's just little things. They took zero energy, zero. I knew it was the right thing to do, like the saying hi thing. And people will say, hey, do you remember that time you did this and you asked me a question and blah, blah, blah. It completely changed my life or completely changed my day or completely changed how I perceive this. And you're like, wow, I would just ask a question. And so I think, and that's not a Joe thing, that's an everybody thing.
Yeah.
You've really got to understand, and how seriously you take it is up to you, that everything you do, everything you say, every interaction you have has an impact on someone.
Yeah.
You know, it's really cool if you know that 95% of what you're doing is resulting in positive interactions. Yeah. It's pretty cool.
I agree.
Yeah.
I think that the day that people will come to me and say, you're doing the worst possible thing on the planet and it sucks and stop doing it, then maybe I'll think about it. But I'm not getting that. So I'm going to keep rolling.
Yeah.
Keep rolling the way we're rolling. And
I think too, the more you put out there, and you're putting out so much positivity right now, so much work, so much effort, the podcast, the business, the family, the more you put out, wouldn't you agree, the more you get back?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think a lot of people are scared and I was scared. Let's put it that way. I know I was scared, so I know that other people feel that way as well. And as far as doing it, the same thing, right?
Yeah.
You get in front of a camera and you start talking, you're like, man, I just stuttered. And it's like once I got past all that, it was like, all right, I'm good. And I want that impact, right? I want to watch the video like I watched my dad who passed away 10 years ago. I want that video to pop up for my son, and my grandkids and to be like, this guy was cool. Like, I like him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we have that now to be able to use a platform for a it is a double-edged sword. It can be used for good. It can also be used for bad. So I want to try to use it for good, man. And your great grandkids can pull up on YouTube the Joe Rosen podcast on the Discipline and Legacy. And then you have the show too, right? Are you still doing the Joe Rosen show? Or?
Yeah, I do it 3 days a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. It's got a different theme every time. So Monday, today, I just did it right before this. It's called What's Hot, where I talk about the hottest things in the real estate market. And then Wednesday is the Florida Treasure Coast Market Update. I usually pull up the MLS, do a screen share, and answer some statistical question. What's the median price point? How fast are homes selling? Whatever.
Nice.
Have prices gone up? Are they going down? And then Friday is you've got questions, I've got answers. So sometimes I get people who write in and ask a question, or it'll be a client who asks a question. And then I state the question and then I answer it.
That's awesome.
And I do it just like this in a very conversational tone. And I try to keep it 5 or 10 minutes, but I'm a little verbose. I know I am. So sometimes it gets a little lengthy. But I've had so many people. I mean, some of my videos have 40 views, but I'll have 2-3 people say, I watched your video and it completely changed the way that I accepted this offer, or I countered this offer, or the way I marketed my house, and it had a positive impact. Mm-hmm. Dude, that is awesome.
Yeah.
That is awesome.
That's what you're set out to do.
I'll take one view if it's an impactful view. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, it's cool to know. I mean, if you go back to, what do you want your legacy to be? I want people to know that I supported them and I put effort into them. And that's one way I can do it. And it's not hard. It just takes discipline and, continuously doing it. And all the things that I'd mentioned prior. But it's, so that's the Joe Rosen Show.
Where can people find you?
So you can go to thejoerosenshow.com. That's the YouTube channel. And I've got hundreds, maybe over 1,000 now videos. It's a lot of videos on anything you can think of real estate wise. There's going to be an answer to a question on there. And I'm on Instagram. It's at the Joe Rosen Show. And then on Facebook, I got a personal page. And then of course I've got a business page, which is Joe Rosen Realtor. So you can go to any one of those. And if you comment, I take comments very I appreciate them a lot. I think it's almost rude not to comment back on somebody's comment if they're taking time out. So, if you send me a DM or you comment a question or whatever, I'm going to respond to you no matter what.
It's true.
Yeah.
I think most of our initial speaking back and forth was on either one of the social platforms. I think just recently I found out I didn't have your actual cell phone number. It was a different number or something. So, but no, true statement there. And we'll get all those links. We'll post them in the bio so that you guys can find him too. And I appreciate the conversation, man. I appreciate we're definitely going to leave some sort of impact here, even if it's a seed being planted.
I appreciate it too, and I want to share with you. Just it popped into my head before we started. I know you've got a wonderful relationship with God, and I can tell you're pushing yourself in so many areas, and you're such a good person, and you're striving to be bigger and better and do more. And there's a certain level of pride that comes, good pride that comes with that. But I also think of God looking at you. And he builds all of us with all this potential. And none of us live up to full potential. Some of us do a pretty doggone good job, and some of us are nowhere close. I just imagine God's looking at you right now saying, wow, look at this guy go. It's pretty impressive. I'm glad I made that one. I just want you to hear that.
I appreciate it, man.
Yeah.
I'd like to think that too.
Yeah. Well, I know it.
He's my buddy. We talk every day. So he's... I think I know I'm on the right path.
Yes.
I know I'm on the right path. So I'm gonna keep on walking.
He's got a cool little story with you. It's pretty awesome.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
And guys, thank you for tuning in for another episode of the Discipline and Legacy Podcast. Don't forget to hit the subscribe, hit the bell on the button so you can get notified when this thing drops. And we're gonna have some amazing content dropping from this. And thanks again, man.
I appreciate it. It's an honor.
All right. We'll see you guys on the next one.